All right, we have this IELTS listening test and we are going to solve it all together. We will go through all 40 questions one by one, and you have to see how to read the question, understand the question, and then how to find the answer from the audio. What they do actually, they use different languages. The language written on question booklet, in the audio, they don't use that language. They just use the synonyms. They try to paraphrase, they rephrase, or reword the options like that, the first thing. Second, with every right answer, there is a trap. That trap is the wrong answer. And they just see your ability, whether you understand English or you only, whatever comes in your way, you write it down. So you need to be careful with that as well. In every part, like IELTS is full of traps. Part 1, they will give you 2 options, 1 is right answer. In part 2, when we have multiple choice, there are total 3 options. Out of 3, 1 is correct. And they will talk about other 2 options as well. So same thing goes on in part 4 as well. So we are going to see how to solve this test together. Complete the notes below. The question type is notes completion. And then they say write one word and or a number. Now one word and or a number, maybe answer can be bottle. Answer can be 2 bottles. 2 is a number, bottles is a word. Or answer can be 2 only. 2 bottles, bottles, or only 2. These are actually 3 options. Now, job details from employment agency. This title will always be given. When you read the title, you need to make up your mind. Job details from employment agency. Employment agency is the agency that gives you the jobs. For example, you are jobless, you go to a foreign country, you are a student, you need a part-time job, you go to employment agency and they have jobs. The employers contact employment agencies and you get jobs there. So the first thing is role. Role means position. This is not the spring roll that you like, cream roll, okay, chicken roll. So this is position. Role means job role. And you know, the context of the talk is very important. Over here, we are talking about jobs and employment agency. So role is actually what you are going to do or what you're going to work. So I play the audio. Please listen carefully. And answer is going to be one word and or a number. Let's start.
Part 1. You will hear a man who works at an employment agency phoning a woman who is looking for a job.
Hello?
Oh, hello. Is that Julie Davison?
Yes.
This is Greg Preston from the employment agency. We met last week when you came in to inquire about office work.
Oh, that's right.
Now, we've just had some details come in of a job which might interest you.
Okay.
So this is a position for a receptionist. I believe you've done that sort of work before?
Yes, I have.
So this is the position for receptionist. Have you noticed for role, they have used the word position. So this is how they're going to play with you. Language on question booklet and the language of the audio, they will be different. So what is the answer? Receptionist. How do you spell it? CEPTIONIST. Okay, so you should know the basic spellings. Next is location. And in location, 2 words are already given. The middle word is missing. So the location is, they mentioned here, Fordham Center. Now, Fordham dash center. So the answer is going to come in the middle. It will come after Fordham and before center. Very simple.
Well, this job's in Fordham, so not too far away for you. And it's at the medical center there.
Okay.
Okay, this job is at the Fordham. And then they said it's at the medical center there. What do they mean by there? Fordham. So answer is medical. Okay, now they will not give you straightforward answer. It's at the Fordham Medical Center, you write medical. This job is at the Fordham and this is there at the medical center. So Fordham, medical and center. Answer is medical. Next, part 3, dash, road, Fordham. Now the name of road. If the name of road is unusual, okay, so they're going to spell it for you. If it is normal road, name is normal, then they will not spell it. Okay, so let's see.
So where exactly is that?
It's quite near the station on Chaston's Road.
Sorry?
Chaston's Road. That's Chastons.
Okay, thanks.
So, Cheston's Road. How do you spell? Chastons. Cheston's will be the right answer. And by the way, if you miss the last S, your answer will be wrong here. Whenever they spell anything, so as they spell, you have to write it exactly the same way. If you change it even a little, your answer will be wrong. And in IELTS, either your answer is right or it is wrong. It's not partially right. Okay? Let's go on. Work involves. Now the job description. Work involves means the job description. Dealing with inquiries, making dash and reorganize them. Now making something and reorganizing them. Them means answer is going to be plural. Making dash and reorganizing them. So they will use a different word for making. They will use another word for reorganizing. Reorganizing, what can be the synonym? Rescheduling. Reorganizing means something, rescheduling, okay?
So what would the work involve? Dealing with inquiries from patients?
Yes. And you'd also be involved in making appointments, whether face-to-face or on the phone, and rescheduling them if necessary.
Fine, that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, you will be involved in making appointments and rescheduling them. So correct answer is appointments. Now you should write plural. If you write singular, they will accept it. Here they will accept it. Okay, appointments is the right answer. Next, maintaining the internal something. For example, internal communication. So for internal, they may use the word within the organization. For example, answer is maintaining internal communications. Let's say you will have to take care of communication within the organization. That means internal.
And another of your duties would be keeping the centre's database up to date. Then you might have other general administrative duties as well. But those would be the main ones.
Okay.
So, database. They use the word center's database. Now, center's database means internal database. Now, centers is the word for internal. Please focus again.
And another of your duties would be keeping the centre's database up to date.
Okay, keeping the center's
you-
database up to date. So center's database up to date means maintaining the internal database. Okay. Next, requirements. Dash essential. Now in requirement, they need something. For example, degree, qualification, essential, something they need. And for essential, they use the word they do require. You must have a certification. They do require a degree, something like that.
Now, when the details came in, I immediately thought of you because one thing they do require is someone with experience. And you did mention your work at the sports centre when you came in to see us.
Yes, in fact, I enjoyed that job.
So something they do require is someone with experience. Well done. So experience, and then there is the word essential. So do require is essential, and correct answer is experience. Next, a calm and dash manner. Answer will come after calm. Manner. Manner means your behavior. A calm and dash manner. Let's see.
Is there anything else they're looking for?
Well, they say it's quite a high-pressure environment. They're always very busy, and patients are often under stress. So they want someone who can cope with that and stay calm. And at the same time, be confident when interacting with the public.
Okay, stay calm and at the same time confident. So answer is confident. And you know, for and, they use the word and at the same time. At the same time means now they are going to talk about second thing. So correct answer is confident. Now if you write confidence, grammatically it will be wrong. Your answer is going to be wrong. Okay, other information, a dash job. Now, it's going to be type of job, a full-time job, a permanent job, or anything like that, or a part-time job. So let's see what do they say about it. A dash job, further opportunities may be available.
And then another thing they mention is that they're looking for someone with good IT skills.
Not a problem.
So you'd be interested in following this up?
Sure. When would it start?
Well, they're looking for someone from the beginning of next month. But I should tell you that this isn't a permanent job. It's temporary. So the contract would be just to the end of September.
Okay, this isn't a permanent job, it's temporary. So correct answer is temporary. Those who don't understand, they will write permanent. So actually, it is temporary. And you should have the right spelling of temporary. That's important. Okay, hours 7:45 a.m. to dash p.m. p.m. is already written. You will not write it. Okay, so you will just write the time. And can you see the format 7.45? So you can follow the same format. Okay, if they say 7:45 a.m. to 5:45 p.m. So you will write 5.45 and p.m. is already written.
And what would the hours be?
Well, they want someone who can start at 7:45 in the morning. Could you manage that?
Yes, my husband would have to get the kids up and off to my mother's. She's going to be looking after them while I'm at work. What time would I finish?
1:15.
That should work out all right. I can pick the kids up on my way home, and then I'll have the afternoon with them.
So what time would I finish? Said 1:15. 1:15 means 1.15. And if you write 115, your answer will be wrong. This dot is very important. You may write dot, you may write dash, okay? You may write double dot, we call it colon. It's all correct, okay? All right, dash is available on site. Let's see what is available. Maybe they can give free meal. Meal is available, coffee is available, tea is available, something like that.
Oh, one thing. Is there parking available for staff at the centre?
Yes, there is. And it's also on a bus route.
Right. Well, I expect I'll have the car, but it's good to know that.
Okay, so answer is parking is available. Now, if you don't understand, you will write bus route. Bus route is available. Now, how many words bus route? 2 words, okay? But she said I will use my car. So correct answer is parking, okay? All right, now we have IELTS listening part 2. And in part 2, 3 types of questions are extremely important. The first one is multiple choice, single or double. The second one is matching. And the third one is map. Nowadays, they don't give map very frequently because now we have Google Maps and all that. You know, few things in IELTS, they are outdated now. General training writing task 1 is letter writing. But we don't write letters anymore. Okay, in listening part 2, they have maps, but we don't use such type of maps these days. We use Google Map. So they really need to update these things. Otherwise, IELTS is quite outdated. Anyways, we've got questions 11 to 14, and the question type is multiple choice. In this type of questions, there are 3 options, and out of 3 options, 1 option is correct. And you have to identify that correct option, and you have to eliminate 2 wrong options at the same time. That is equally important. So we have question number 11, museum building was originally. Now when they say museum building, sit down please. When they say museum building was originally, it means the purpose of the building. So what is the purpose of the building? Or when they made the building, what was the purpose of that? So that is what they say museum building was originally. Originally means it was purpose built for something and then it was converted into the other 2 options. Now we have 3 options. One is factory. Second is private home. Third is hall of residence. Now if they say the building was made as a factory and later on it was converted into a house. Okay, so it means answer is factory. So this is what you guys need to see, original purpose of the building when the building was made. That is important.
Part 2. You will hear a guide at a farming museum talking to a group of visitors.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Museum of Farming Life. I understand it's your first visit here, so I'd like to give you some background information about the museum and then explain a little about what you can see during your visit. So, where we're standing at the moment is the entrance to a large building that was constructed in 1880 as the home of a local businessman, Alfred Palmer, of the Palmer Biscuit Factory. It was later sold and became a hall of residence for students in 1911 and a museum in 1951. In 2005, a modern extension was built to accommodate the museum's collections.
All right, so museum building was originally, what was it originally? It was actually a private home, okay? And then they talked about hall of residence and all that. Please focus this part again.
Part 2.
Farming life. I understand it's your first visit here, so I'd like to give you some background information about the museum and then explain a little about what you can see during your visit. So, where we're standing at the moment is the entrance to a large building that was constructed in 1880 as the home of a local businessman.
Okay, it was constructed as a home of local businessmen. So that is, building was originally a private home. Private means local businessman and home of private businessmen. So B is the right answer. After that, they will just try to check whether you change your answer or you stick to that answer. Now we have question number 12. University uses part of the museum building as. Now imagine there is a university and university is using some part of the building, museum building. For what purpose? Option A, teaching rooms. Teaching rooms means classrooms. Like university, they say there are some lectures delivered by the university professors, then it can be A. B, research library. If they say they have created a research library there in the museum building and this research library has been created by the university, B can be the right answer. And C, administration offices. Like university staff, they have their offices in the museum building. So let's see, university uses part of the museum building as what?
The museum's owned by the university, and apart from 2 rooms that are our offices, the university uses the main part of the building. You may see students going into the building for lessons, but it's not open to museum visitors, I'm afraid. It's a shame because the interior architectural features are outstanding, especially the room that used to be the library.
So, you may see students going there for their lessons. So that is teaching rooms. And then they talked about that's a shame and library is there and all that. So let's focus once again.
The museum's owned by the university, and apart from 2 rooms that are our offices,
Apart from 2 rooms that are our offices. Now, university uses part of the museum building as. It's not administration offices.
the university uses the main part of the building.
The university uses the main part of the building.
You may see students going into the building for lessons, but
Okay, you may see students going into the building for lessons. So that is option A, teaching rooms.
it's not open to museum visitors, I'm afraid. It's a shame because the interior architectural features are outstanding, especially the room that used to be the library.
Okay, the room that used to be the library. Used to be means past tense. So now it's not a library, right? And university does not use it as a library. So that is why research library is wrong option. Now we go on. Question number 13. What does the guide say about the entrance fee? Subject is entrance fee. What does the guide say? Option A, visitors decide whether or not they wish to pay. Whenever they say visitors decide the entry fee, it means there will be a donation box like this. there will be a box and you put money however you want to, 500, 100, 10 rupees or only no money, okay? Only you're holding and no money there. So when they say visitors decide, there must be a donation box or anything like that. Then they say only children and students receive a discount. If there's a 10% discount for children and students if you show your ID card. And then museum charges extra for special exhibitions. If there is a special exhibition, museum will charge extra for that. Now let's see what does the guide say about entrance fee.
Luckily, we've managed to keep entry to the museum free. This includes access to all the galleries, outdoor areas, and the rooms for special exhibitions. We run activities for children and students, such as the museum club, for which there's no charge. We do have a donation box just over there, so feel free to give whatever amount you consider appropriate.
Okay, we do have a donation box. Feel free, whatever amount is appropriate. Yeah, 2 rupiye, 1 rupiya, whatever you want to give. So correct answer is A. That is, visitors decide whether or not they wish to pay. And children and students are free. So there isn't anything about discount for them and all that. Question number 14, what are visitors advised to leave in the cloakroom? A cloakroom is a room where you leave your jackets, coats, or the stuff which is not allowed in the museum. For example, you go to the museum and cameras are not allowed. So they will say, leave your cameras in the cloakroom. Or usually they have hangers, you leave your, for example, it's very cold outside, so you're wearing an overall or a long coat, so you leave your coat in the cloakroom. Now, what is it that you need to leave in the cloakroom? They will advise you. Option A, cameras. Option B, coats. Option C, bags. Now for cameras, they may use the word cameras, flashlights and all that. For coats, they can use the word overalls, coats and all that. And for bags, they may use the word handbag, rucksack. You know rucksack? It's a kind of bag. We call it rucksack. Rucksack. So it's another kind of bag. Now what is it that they're going to leave in the cloakroom?
We do have a cloakroom if you'd like to leave your coats and bags somewhere. Unlike other museums, photography is allowed here, so you might like to keep your cameras with you. You might be more comfortable not carrying around heavy rucksacks, though keep your coats and jackets on as it's quite cold in the museum garden today.
Keep your coats on. It's quite cold in the museum garden today. And cameras are allowed. So C is bags. And for that she said rucksack. Rucksack is a type of bag. So correct answer is option C. Now don't forget the word rucksack, and that is the synonym of bag. Okay, let's go on. Next we have matching. For matching type of questions, first of all, you will read the question 15 to 20. What information does the speaker give about each of the following areas of the museum? Now you're going to match information with areas of museum. Okay, and areas of museums are pretty straightforward. In the audio, they will not change them. They will talk about them as they are. For example, 15, Four Seasons, 16, Farmhouse Kitchen, and all that. The real information is in the options. Now we read the options and we say how to interpret them. Option A, parents must supervise their children. For that, they may say you may keep an eye on your child. Keep an eye on your child, take care of your child, make sure your child stays with you and all that. Option B, there are new things to see. For new things, they can say our new addition, right? I don't know whether it is this one or another one. In one of the tests for new thing, they said the baby ducks have just hatched from the eggs. Now, baby ducks hatched from the eggs, it means it is a new thing. Or they will say there is a calf, it was just born yesterday. That is a new thing. Or they will say we have recently bought a child-sized tractor. Now that tractor is new thing. So they may use new thing in a number of different ways. Next, it is closed today. For closed today, they will say you cannot go there today. I'm afraid it is closed for renovation, or you are not allowed to go there today, or anything like that. Option D, this is only for school groups. Now, if they say this place of the museum is only for school groups, like children, school children, and all that. Option E, there is a quiz for visitors. For quiz, they use the word is going to be a competition for visitors. Quiz, competition, or we will ask questions and you will answer. Or they use another thing, that is what we call memory test. Quiz means memory test. Option F, it features something created by students. Features means shows. Created by students means students made it. It can be a painting. Students made a painting and they show the painting. That means features something created by students. And option G, expert is here today. Very simple. They will say this morning, Mr. Brown, who is an expert in this field, he will talk to you or anything like that. Okay. Next, option H, there is one-way system. One-way system means you enter and then you will exit the other place, not the same place. For example, we have some places like entry and exit, they are same. But some places you enter from one gallery, then the second gallery, third, fourth, and fifth gallery will take you out. You don't have to come back. So that is called one-way system. Got the point? One-way system, okay? So let's see, question number 15, Four Seasons. And Four Seasons is actually the name of area of the museum.
I'd like to tell you about the different areas of the museum. Just inside and outside the main gallery, we have an area called Four Seasons. Here, you can watch a 4-minute animation of a woodland scene. It was designed especially for the museum by a group of young people on a film studies course, and it's beautiful. Children absolutely love it, but then so do adults.
Okay, they have 4 minutes something. It was made by students in our film and this study course. So correct answer for that is option F. Okay, please listen again.
I'd like to tell you about the different areas of the museum. Just inside and outside the main gallery, we have an area called Four Seasons. Here, you can watch a 4-minute animation of...
Here you can watch a 4-minute animation. Watch means features, right? 4-minute animation.
A woodland scene. It was designed especially for the museum by a group of young people on...
Okay, it was designed for the museum by a group of young people.
A film studies course, and it...
Okay, from our film studies course. So they are students, okay? So 4-minute animation. That is, it features something created by students. Option F. Question number 16, farmhouse kitchen.
The main gallery is called Town and Country. It includes a photographic collection of prize-winning sheep and shepherds. Leaving Town and Country, you enter farmhouse kitchen, which is, well, self-explanatory. Here, we have the oldest collection of equipment for making butter and cheese in the country. And this morning, a specialist cheesemaker will be giving demonstrations of how it's produced. You may even get to try some.
Okay, this morning a specialist cheesemaker will give demonstration. That is option G. Expert is here today. Now you understand their mindset, how the sentences are written on the question booklet and what they speak in the audio. That is what you need to actually clearly understand. Question number 17, a year on the farm. It's another area of the museum.
After that, you can go in 2 directions. To the right is a staircase that takes you up to a landing from where you can look down on the galleries. To the left is a room called A Year on the Farm. There is lots of seating here, as sometimes we use the room for school visits, so it's a good place to stop for a rest. If you're feeling competitive, you can take our memory test, in which you answer questions about things you've seen in the museum.
See that? Answer came in the last part. If you feel competitive, you can take our memory test. So memory test is quiz. Exactly. That is option E. You have to listen to all the audio and then decide. Don't write the wrong answer and then I don't care. Okay? All right, let's go on. Next is wagon walk.
The next area is called Wagon Walk. This contains farm carts from nearly every part of the country. It's surprising how much regional variation there was. Beside the carts are display boards with information about each one. The carts are old and fragile, so we ask you to keep your children close to you and ensure they don't climb on the carts.
Okay, keep your children close to you and make sure they don't climb the cart. So that is option A. Parents must supervise their children. Okay, keep your children close to you and make sure they don't climb the cart. Children are children all over the world. Okay. Next, so A is the right answer for 18. 19 is bees and magic.
From Wagon Walk, you can either make your way back to reception or go out into the garden, or even go back to take another look in the galleries. In the far corner of the garden is Bees Are Magic, but we're redeveloping this area, so you can't visit that at the moment.
Okay.
You can still...
Khamosh ho ja. Yeah, we are redeveloping that area, so you cannot visit it at the moment. That is option C. Well done. Good job. Okay, the last question, number 20, is the pond. All right.
Finally, there's the pond,
Okay.
which contains all kinds of interesting wildlife. There are baby ducks that are only a few days old, as well as tiny frogs. The pond isn't deep.
Okay, this was this test actually. Baby ducks and tiny frogs. So that is option B. There are new things to see. What are those new things? Baby ducks and tiny frogs. Exactly. Okay, that's good. All right, now we have IELTS listening part 3 and the real party is going to start here. Party means the difficult part. In part 3, they check your advanced level English if you have, right? Otherwise, part 3 will become Spanish for you or Pashto for you. Okay? If you don't know Pashto, if you say, "Mujhe Pashto aati hai," so then it's not Pashto, it's French or Spanish for you. In part 3, they check your interpretation. Have you noticed in part 1, you directly pick a word from the audio. In part 2, you actually find a synonym of that word. In part 3, there will be a conversation and you need to interpret that conversation and understand whatever they say. So we have part 3, questions 21 to 30. Questions 21 and 22, choose 2 letters A to E. We call it a double multiple choice question. Out of 5, you have to select 2 options. But actually, I will not say out of 5, you have to select 2 options. The right explanation is, out of 5, you have to eliminate 3 wrong options, and then you will find 2 right options. And if you're looking for right answers only, you will be trapped with the wrong options, okay? So let's see, question. Which 2 educational skills were shown in the video of children doing origami? Now, if you don't know what origami is, they will explain it in the audio. They don't expect you that you know the word origami. It's an unusual word. I can tell you what origami is. Have you ever made an aeroplane with paper? Or any other thing like a frog or aeroplane or any other thing? That is called origami. Origami or origami, right? You can make things out of paper. So this is called. Now, which 2 educational skills, underline 2 educational skills, were shown in the video, children doing origami? Now, they are going to discuss a video. In the video, children are making stuff out of paper. So, what 2 educational skills were shown? Out of 5, 2 educational skills were shown and 3 were not shown. Option A, solving problems. Option B, following instructions. Option C, working cooperatively. Now, what is following instructions? Following instructions means just follow me and do as I'm doing. Like if you show a paper, you say, okay, this is the paper, everybody fold the paper. So they follow instructions. That is what we call following instructions. Working cooperatively. Working cooperatively means working together. What is the opposite of that? Working individually. Okay? Next, learning through play. If they are learning through play, D will be the right answer. Developing hand-eye coordination. What is hand-eye coordination? You are looking. This is called hand-eye coordination. Like what you look, you see. When you do the PT, you look at. Okay, so that is called hand-eye coordination. All right, or when you do group dance, you see how others are dancing, then you follow that, okay? That is called hand-eye coordination. Anyways, now let's see. Again, try to focus wrong options, eliminate the wrong options, and you will be left with the right ones. Let's get started. And 2 options you have to select. If both are right, you will get 2 marks. If one is right, one is wrong, you will get 1 mark for that.
Part 3. Following instructions from their tutor, you will hear 2 trainee teachers discussing the use of origami, a paper folding activity, in the classroom.
So now I want you to discuss the lesson we've just been watching on the video and think about the ways in which origami can be a useful educational tool. Can you all work with the person sitting next to you?
I had no idea that such a simple thing like folding squares of paper to make the shape of something like a bird could be such an amazing tool. It's made me see origami in a whole new light.
I know. It was interesting to see the educational skills the children were developing by doing origami. On the video, you could see them really listening hard to make sure they did all the steps in the right order to make the bird.
That's right. In this lesson, they were working individually, but it would also be interesting to see if the children could work out how to make something simple without being given any direction. That would help with building teamwork as well.
Yes, but much more of a challenge. One thing that really stood out for me was that the children were all having fun while being taught something new.
Which is a key aim of any lesson with this age group. And although these kids had no problems with folding the paper, with younger children, you could do origami to help practice fine motor skills.
Absolutely.
C-N-E. Okay, anyone else? D-N-E. Okay. All right. Correct answers are B for boy, D for doctor. Now we'll repeat it. Don't worry. B for boy, D for doctor. Now we see why B and D are correct and other options are wrong.
Part 3.
And think about the ways in which origami can be a useful educational tool. Can you all work with the person sitting next to you?
I had no idea that such a simple thing
She elaborated origami is paper folding activity in the beginning, so we understand.
like folding squares of paper to make the shape of something like a bird could be such an amazing tool. It's made me see origami in a whole new light.
I know. It was interesting to see the educational skills the children were developing by doing origami. On the video, you could see them really listening hard to make sure they did all the steps in the right order to make...
Okay, they were listening hard to make sure they do all the steps in the right order. What is that? Option B, following instructions. They were listening hard to make sure they follow the steps and all that. So first correct answer is option B. Now please come to option C.
The bird.
That's right. In this lesson, they were working individually.
In this lesson, they were working individually. So C cannot be the answer because that is cooperatively. But they said in this lesson, they were working individually.
But it would also be interesting to see if...
It would also be interesting. Whenever they say it would, it's not in the video. He's just saying that it would also be interesting if they would work in a team or anything like that. But in this video, he mentioned they were working individually. So C is not the right answer.
the children could work out how to make something simple without being given any direction.
Now please come to option D.
That would help with building teamwork as well.
Yes, but much more of a challenge. One thing that really stood out for me was that the children were all having fun.
One thing that stood out for me, the children were all having fun. What is that? Learning through play. Now play and children were all having fun. So second correct answer is D. Now please come to option A.
While being taught something new.
Which is a key aim of any lesson with this age group. And although these kids had no problems,
These kids had no problems. Option A, solving problems. He said these kids had no problems. And if you do not understand problems, A, good. Carry on, okay? So when you don't understand, you pick up the words. And this is how they actually cheat you, right? So it's not solving problems because they said children had no problems.
with folding the paper, with younger children, you could do origami to help practice fine motor skills.
Absolutely.
Okay, so they didn't mention this hand-eye coordination and all that. Now we come to questions 23 to 27. Which comment do the students make about each of the following children in the video? Now, comment and children, we have to match. For example, children are Sid, Jack, Naomi, and all that. Now, we need to read the comment. Demonstrated independence. Out of these children, one child worked on his own. Working on your own. Working without assistance. Working without instructions. That is what we say, demonstrate independence. Option B, asked for teacher support. Now, one child would ask the teacher how to do it. Okay, so that is option B. Developed a competitive attitude. Now, what is competitive attitude? My aeroplane will be the best in the class, right? You say, I'll make the best thing. So that is competitive attitude, that you compete with others. Next, seemed to find the activity calming. Now, one child found the activity calming. For that, they would say one child was making a lot of noise and disturbing others. When we gave him the paper, he sat down and started working on it. So it means seemed to find the activity calming. Option E, seemed pleased with the results. Very happy to make something out of a paper. So that is option E. Seemed confused. For confused, they would say a child, for example, this is Sid did not know what to do or how to do it. Did not know what to do, how to do it. He was confused. He didn't understand. That means seemed confused. And option G, seemed to find the activity easy. Like he could make things easily or without difficulty. Easy means without difficulty. Now we have question number 23, Sid. So please now listen and answer.
Shall we talk about the individual children we saw on the video? I wrote all their names down and took some notes.
Yes, I did too.
Okay, good. Let's start with Sid.
He was interesting because before they started doing the origami, he was being quite disruptive.
Yes, he really benefited from having to use his hands. It helped him to settle down and start concentrating.
Yes, I noticed that too.
It helped him to settle down, and initially he was quite disruptive. Which option? Well done, very good, right? He was quite disruptive. Disruptive is a child who disturbs others, and it helped him to settle down. So seemed to find the activity coming. Now we have question number 24.
What about Jack? I noticed he seemed to want to work things out for himself.
You could see him trying out different things rather than asking the teacher for help.
Okay, rather than asking the teacher for help, he wanted to try things himself. That is option A, demonstrated independence. Please listen again.
What about Jack? I noticed he seemed to want to work things out for himself.
He seems to want to work things out himself, like he wanted to do all the things himself. That means demonstrated independence. When you want to do it on your own, it means you are showing independence. So A is the right answer. Next, question number 25, Naomi.
What did you make of Naomi?
She seemed to be losing interest at one point, but then she decided she wanted her mouse to be the best, and that motivated her to try harder.
She didn't seem satisfied with hers in the end, though.
No.
Okay, she wanted her mouse to be the best. What is that? Competitive attitude. When you want your things to be the best, C will be the right answer. Question number 26. What is this name? Anya? Anya? Okay, let's check.
Anya was such a star. She listened so carefully and then produced the perfect bird with very little effort.
I think the teacher could have increased the level of difficulty for her.
Maybe.
She produced the perfect bird with a little effort. G. Okay. Seem to find the activity easy. And what is the word for easy? Little effort. Okay. She made the perfect bird with little effort. Please listen again.
Anya was such a star. She listened so carefully and then produced the perfect bird with very little effort.
Okay. Now we've got question number 27. Zara.
I think it was the first time Zara had come across origami.
She looked as if she didn't really get what was going on.
She seemed unsure about what she was supposed to do. But in the end, hers didn't turn...
Okay. She seemed unsure. She didn't get what was going on. That is option F. Seemed confused. Okay, so this is the game. Once you start to understand, you will enjoy IELTS listening, IELTS reading and all that. Okay, let's go on. We've got the last 3 questions here. Multiple choice again. So, we've got questions 28 to 30. Question number 28. Before starting an origami activity in class, the students think it is important for the teacher to. Now, it is important for the teacher to something teacher should do. Let's see what is that. Option A, make models. For example, teacher will say, look, this is the aeroplane and today we are going to learn how to make it. So that is what we call model. Teacher will show this is aeroplane, this is frog, this is mouse and all that. So make models. Option B, check children understand. Check children understand. So the teacher should check whether children understand or not. Option C, tell children not to worry. Tell children not to worry. See, I'm not reading all the options. One is make models. Second is check children understand. Third is tell children not to worry. Like if they cannot make a perfect mouse, so don't worry about it. You can just try again. Now let's see. Before starting, what is it that students think it is important for the teacher?
I think one reason why the origami activity worked so well in this class was that the teacher was well prepared.
Right. I think it would have taken me ages to prepare examples showing each of the steps involved in making the bird, but that was a really good idea. The children could see what they were aiming for. And much better for them to be able to hold something rather than just looking at pictures.
Those physical examples supported her verbal explanations really well.
Those physical examples. Exactly. Make models that demonstrate the different stages. So for that they use the word physical examples and all that. So correct answer is A. Is it okay? Good. Question number 29. Students agree that some teachers might be unwilling to use origami in class because. Now what's the reason? Some teachers will not like to use origami in class. What's the reason? Option A. Crafts are not important. Underline not crafts important. Now some teachers believe crafts or handicrafts are not important. Option B. Not have necessary skills. What does it mean? Teachers even don't know how to make it. Not have necessary skills means teachers don't know origami. Option C, worry, it will take too much time. So worry, it will take too much time. Means to make a paper boat or anything, it will take too much time. So teachers are not willing. What is the reason? Reason number A is crafts are not important. Reason number B, teachers don't know how to make them. And reason number C is it will take too much time. So time is reason number 3.
It's strange that origami isn't used more widely. Why do you think that is?
Well, teachers may just feel it's not that appealing to children who are used to doing everything on computers, especially boys, even if they're aware of the benefits.
Oh, I don't know. It's no different to any other craft activity. I bet it's because so many teachers are clumsy like me.
That's true. Too much effort required if you're not good with your hands.
So many teachers are clumsy like me. Too much effort is required if you're not good with your hands. That is C. They may worry that it will take too much time. No. A is not think crafts are important. No. He said so many teachers are clumsy like me. That is option B. They may not have the necessary skills. Means teachers even don't know how to do it. Listen again, please.
It's strange that origami isn't used more widely. Why do you think that is?
Well, teachers may just feel it's not that appealing to children who are used to doing everything on computers.
Okay, teachers may think that it's not important, especially for children who are doing everything on computer. So crafts not important.
Especially boys, even if they're aware of the benefits.
Oh, I don't know. It's no different to any other
I don't know. I don't know means he denied the previous statement. He said, I don't know, okay?
craft activity. I bet it's because so many teachers are clumsy like...
I bet. I bet means I'm sure. When you say I bet, it means you are certain and sure. So many teachers are clumsy like me.
me.
That's true. Too
That's true. So they agree on that.
much effort required if you're not good with your hands.
Too much effort required. They did not say too much time required. So option C is too much time. But they said too much effort. Question number 30. Why do students decide to use origami in their maths teaching practice? Now they want to use it in maths teaching practice. You know when B8 or M8 students complete their education, then they have teaching practice. They go and deliver a lecture. So why do the students decide to use origami in their teaching practice, maths teaching practice? So option A, correct a particular misunderstanding. If they are going to use origami in maths to correct a particular misunderstanding, option A will be the right answer. Option B, set a challenge. Set a challenge means they will give a challenge to the class that look, this is the origami and you got to do it. And option C, introduce a new concept in mathematics like logarithm or any other concept. Okay, so let's see.
Well, anyway, I think we should try it out in our maths teaching practice with Year 3. I can see using origami is a really engaging way of reinforcing children's knowledge of geometric shapes, like they were doing in the video. But I think it would also work really well for presenting fractions, which is coming up soon.
Good idea. That's something most of the kids in that class might struggle with. Origami would also be good practice for using symmetry, but I think they did that last term.
Okay, well, let's try and get some ideas together and plan the lesson next week.
So, correct answer is C, exactly. They're going to introduce a maths lesson.
Well, anyway, I think we should try it out in our maths teaching practice with Year 3. I can see using origami is a really engaging way of reinforcing children's knowledge of geometric shapes, like they were doing in the video. But I think it would also work really well for presenting fractions.
Okay, it would work well for presenting. Presenting is introduce and fraction is new concept. Okay, so correct answer is option C. All right, finally we have part 4. Let me tell you, no matter how difficult part 3 is, part 4 will not be that difficult. If you are lucky. And if you are unlucky, part 4 will be more difficult than part 3. Okay, so it depends on you. In part 4, mostly they give you the question type that is one word only. And if you are unlucky, then there will be multiple choice questions as well. There are some part 4s in IELTS, Cambridge IELTS books where they have multiple choice questions. But that is pretty unusual. So one word only, and the title is Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo is the name. Now we don't know who is Victor Hugo. We don't know about him. They say his novel. Now we understand. Victor Hugo is a writer or author and all that. So they say his novel Les Miserables. It's a French language. Then they use the word theater and cinema. Underline the word cinema. When they talk about cinema, it means audio is there. After that, we know more about its overall dash. Now, we know more about its. What do they mean by its? Novel, exactly. Novel, Les Miserables, that is the novel. So we know more about its overall. Underline the word overall. They are going to use the synonym of overall. What do you think is the synonym of overall? All right, simple word, general. Overall, general. If they say, we know more about its overall appeal. For example, answer is appeal. In the audio, they will say general appeal. General means overall. Then about its author. So, let's see.
Part 4. You will hear a literature student giving a talk about Victor Hugo, a famous 19th century French writer.
The person I've chosen to talk about is the French writer Victor Hugo. Many people have heard of him because his novel, Les Miserables, which he wrote in 1862, is famous around the world. It became a stage musical in the 1980s, and a film version was also released in 2012. So some of us, I'm sure, have a pretty general idea of the plot, but we know much less about the author.
Have the general idea of the plot. Idea is not the answer. We know more about its overall idea. No, it's the general idea of the plot. Then about its author. Okay, so correct answer is plot. I play this part again.
Part 4.
Around the world. It became a stage musical in the 1980s, and a film version was also released in 2012.
Film version means cinema. Now we come to the point.
So some of us, I'm sure, have a pretty general idea of the plot.
Some of us have pretty general. Some of us means we know. Some of us have pretty general idea of the plot. So we know more about its overall plot. We know more about means some of us have general idea. Having general idea means we know.
But we know much less about the author.
But we know much less about the author. So we know more about the plot than the author. Okay, next we've got his early career. In Paris, his career was successful, and then there is that romantic movement. So underline romantic movement and Paris, so that you know the audio is there. Next, he spoke publicly about social issues such as, now two social issues. One is education, and second, guess. Any social issue that people have? Education and health. All right, that's good. Very good. Good job. You guys are intelligent, huh? Never guess in IELTS, okay?
Today, I'm going to provide a little more insight into this talented man, and I'm going to talk particularly about the home he had on the island of Guernsey in the British Channel Islands. But first, his early career. As I've said, he was a writer. He was at the height of his career in Paris, and he was very highly regarded by his colleagues. As far as literature was concerned, he was the leading figure of the Romantic movement. However, as well as being a literary genius, he also gave many speeches about issues like the level of poverty in his society. He felt very strongly about this and about other areas where change was needed, like education.
Level of poverty and other areas like education. So answer is poverty. How do you spell it? V-E-R-T-Y. Well done. Poverty will be the right answer. Okay, then they will talk about Napoleon. I'm telling you all this because in part 4, when the audio goes on, there is a lecture. Sometimes it is very fluent, so you lose it. I mean, you are on another question, audio is somewhere else. So that's why when they talk about Napoleon, you know it is there. His exile from France. Victor Hugo had to live elsewhere in dash. Underline the word live. For live, they commonly use the word reside. Then we have elsewhere. Elsewhere means other parts of. For example, Victor Hugo had to reside elsewhere in Asia. Elsewhere in Asia means in other parts of Asia. Elsewhere in America. Elsewhere in America means other parts of America. Let's see.
This kind of outspoken criticism was not well liked by the rulers of France, and eventually the Emperor, Napoleon III, told Victor Hugo to leave Paris and not return. In other words, he sent him into exile. So, Victor Hugo was forced to reside in other parts of Europe.
Victor Hugo was forced to reside. Forced to reside means had to live. Had to means forced to. Other parts of Europe. Correct answer is Europe. Question number 34. He used his income from the sale of some dash he had written to buy. Now something he wrote and he used his income from there. For example, he used his income from the sale of some novels. He had written novels, articles, or anything like that. I mean, answer is going to be a piece of writing. Okay, let's see. Stories maybe.
Guernsey was actually his third place of exile, and he landed there in 1855. He produced a lot while on Guernsey, including Les Miserables, and to do this, he had to spend a great deal of time in the home that he had there. This was a property that he bought using the money he'd made in France from the publication of a collection of his poetry. It was the only property he ever owned, and he was very proud of it.
Okay, publication of collection of his poetry. Now what is the answer? Publication, collection? Answer is poetry. Well done. This is what they check. They have given you 3 words. Publication of the collection of his poetry. So, actually he used his income from the sale of some poetry is the right answer. Just focus again.
Guernsey was at... This was a property that he bought using the money he'd made in France.
Using the money he'd made in France. That is income.
From the publication of a collection of his poetry.
Publication of collection of his poetry.
It was the only property he ever owned.
Okay, answer is poetry. His house on Guernsey, Victor Hugo, then there is no question. Underline the word empire in France. Empire in France. Next, question number 35. The ground floor. So, clue word is ground floor. Ground floor contains portraits, then there is comma. It means they will talk about another thing after portraits. Dash and tapestries that he valued. So answer will come after portraits and before tapestries.
The property Victor Hugo bought on Guernsey was a large 5-storey house in the capital town of St. Peter Port, and he lived there for 15 years, returning to France in 1870 when Napoleon's empire collapsed. He decorated and furnished each level or floor of the house in unique and wonderful ways. And many people consider the inside of the house to be a work of art. Today, it's a museum that attracts 200,000 visitors a year. He lived in the house with his family, and portraits of its members still hang in rooms on the ground floor, along with drawings that he did during his travels that he felt were important to him. In other ground floor rooms, there are huge tapestries.
Tapestries is there. So portraits and then they talked about drawings. Drawings. You said art? No, it's not art. It's drawings. Just focus this part.
As a year, and portraits of its members still hang in rooms with his family. And portraits of its members still hang in rooms on the ground floor.
Okay, portraits are still hanging.
Along with drawings that...
Along with drawings. So portraits along with. Now there is comma. Comma means along with. And then drawings. So answer is plural 1, drawings. He bought cheap dash made of wood. Now he bought something which was cheap and it was made of wood, maybe furniture, chair, table, or anything like that.
They gave the walls are covered in dark wood panelling that Victor Hugo created himself using wooden furniture that he bought in the market. The items were relatively inexpensive, and he used them to create intricate carvings.
What did he buy? You guys missed it, huh? Come on.
The walls are covered in dark wood panelling that Victor Hugo created himself using wooden furniture.
Using wooden furniture. Made of wood means wooden. Answer is furniture. Now what is cheap?
That he bought in the market. The items were relatively inexpensive.
The items were relatively inexpensive. What do they mean by items? Furniture items, tables, chairs, sofas and all that. The items were relatively inexpensive. Inexpensive means cheap. Question number 37. The first floor consists of furnished areas with wallpaper and dash that have a Chinese design. Now something that have a Chinese design. Now can you see they've mentioned that have. What does it mean? That have. That have. No, it means answer is going to be plural. If it could be that has means answer is singular. That have means answer should be plural. So answer will come after wallpapers.
They gave an atmosphere on the lower level that was shadowy and rather solemn. On the next level of the house, there are 2 impressive lounges where he entertained his guests. One lounge has entirely red furnishings, such as sofas and wall coverings, and the other blue. There's a strong Chinese influence in these areas in things like the wallpaper pattern and the lamps, which he would have made himself by copying.
Okay, wallpaper patterns and the lamps. So correct answer is lamps. Then library and favorite books. There is no question, but you will understand library and favorite books. After that, he wrote in a room at the top of the house that had a view of the, very simple. Imagine this is the room, top of the house, and we have a view of trees. So view of the. Now for view of the, they commonly use the word looks out. Looks out at the trees. This room looks out at the trees, means this room has a view of the trees. So looks out something. Let's see what is it.
His library, where he left many of his favourite books, forms the hallway to the 3rd floor and was a comfortable area where he could relax and enjoy his afternoons. And then, at the very top of the house, there's a room called the Lookout. Called that because it looks out over the harbour.
It
In
looks
contrast
out
to the
over the harbour. So how do you spell harbour? H-A-R, B-O-R or B-O-U-R. One is American, one is British. Like color, C-O-L-O-R color, C-O-L-O-U-R color. They accept both. British or American spelling, they accept. So correct answer is harbour, H-A-R-B-O-R or B-O-U-R. Next, he entertained other writers as well as poor dash in his house. He entertained other writers as well as poor, so poor something in his house. And they will replace poor with some other thing.
His library. So, Victor Hugo was a man of many talents, but he was also true to his values. While living in his house on Guernsey, he entertained many other famous writers, but he also invited a large group of local children from the deprived areas of the island to dinner once a week.
Okay, children from the deprived areas. So children from the deprived areas means poor children. For poor, he used the word from the deprived areas. So correct answer is children. Okay, Victor Hugo's dash. Hugo's means something related to him. Apostrophe S means something related to him. Victor Hugo's dash gave ownership of the house to the city of Paris in 1927. So they gave the ownership. For example, Victor Hugo's family, Victor Hugo's wife or children, or anyone like that.
In 1927, the house was owned by his relatives, and they decided to donate it to the city of Paris.
Yes.
It has since been restored using
Relatives, and they decided to give it to the city of Paris. Okay, like we've got Allama Iqbal's house, Allama Iqbal Rahmatullah Alayh, his house, and then they donated it as a museum. His family donated the house as a museum. Okay, so correct answer is relatives. Exactly, that's right.